Hello, the Pioneer viewers. We're here with another shocking development in the shadow of war. As the conflict in Ukraine intensifies, a critical attack in recent days has dropped like a bomb on the world agenda. The assassination, which took place in occupied Ukrainian territory, resulted in the death of one of Russia's leading military commanders. The developments behind the scenes have the potential to affect not only the course of the war on the front line, but also the future of the Russian military leadership. The attack targeted a funeral in Ukraine, and initial reports from the region following the explosion suggest that it was planned in a highly sophisticated manner. Who was the target of the attack? With the support of which intelligence agencies was this operation carried out? These are questions that not only military experts but also the international community are eagerly seeking answers to. In particular, what kind of retaliatory strategy will Russia's successive losses of its top commanders force the Kremlin to adopt? Since the beginning of the war, Ukraine has conducted many high-risk operations to neutralize enemy forces. However, this latest attack sends an unusual message. The target was a figure who played an important role in the Russian military's strategies in Ukraine and was known for war crimes. This assassination reveals not only Ukraine's military operational capabilities, but also Russia's security vulnerabilities. So, how did this attack take place? Preliminary findings suggest that the explosion was carried out with a remote control device and that a professional organization was behind the attack. Military analysts working in the region believe that the attack was carried out by Ukraine's intelligence services. However, the Kremlin claims that Western intelligence agencies could also be behind the attack. Moscow draws attention to the fact that the intelligence support provided by NATO countries to Ukraine plays a decisive role in such attacks. Let's take a look at the latest developments. Before we get to our report, a quick reminder: the Pioneer team is completely real. None of my teammates or me are artificial intelligence. Even though AI is very advanced, it's still not as good as us. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. We do read all the comments you leave on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content. Tell us in the comments what content you'd like to see on the Pioneer channel. And now let us start if you're ready. The Pioneer reports. The war between Russia and Ukraine is becoming increasingly complex, with not only frontline military clashes but also intelligence operations, pinpoint assassinations, and high-precision attacks. Recent developments show that the Kyiv regime is inflicting heavy losses on Moscow with the new steps in this area. Ukrainian military intelligence carried out a special operation targeting a Russian officer who was considered responsible for last year's missile attack in the village of Groza in the Kharkiv region, which killed dozens of civilians. According to the Ukrainian military, Captain Konstantin Nagaiko was seriously wounded in an explosion in the Russian town of Shuya in the Ivanovo region on January the 3rd and died on February the 8th after days of intensive treatment. Nagaiko, only 29 years old, was a battery commander in the 112th Division of the Russian Army's Missile Brigade. Ukraine's security services had found out that he was directly responsible for deadly missile strikes against the country and considered him to be the chief architect of the massacre in the village of Groza on October the 5th, 2023. In the attack, an Iskander missile hit a shop and a cafe, killing 59 civilians, including the widow, son, daughter-in-law, and 6-year-old grandson of a Ukrainian soldier. The Groza attack was recorded as one of the bloodiest massacres of civilians on Ukrainian territory since the beginning of the war and caused a strong reaction from the international community. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky described the attack as a completely deliberate act of terrorism and accused Russia of committing war crimes. Following these developments, it became clear that Ukrainian intelligence was accelerating retaliatory operations to target Russian officers responsible for war crimes. While it was claimed that the explosion that killed Nagaiko was carried out by elements directly affiliated with Ukrainian intelligence, the Kyiv administration preferred not to share any details on this issue. However, it was emphasized that the operation was part of a broader Ukrainian strategy to bring the criminals of the war to justice. Such assassinations on Russian soil represent a significant security vulnerability for the Kremlin. Since the beginning of the war, Ukraine has stepped up its cross-border operations and carried out precision strikes, especially against military targets. Recent operations against both military and political figures inside Russia point to serious weaknesses in Moscow's internal security systems. In particular, sensitive facilities, ammunition depots, and senior officials are being directly targeted by Ukraine's sophisticated intelligence network and special operations teams. Over the last year, the following developments were noteworthy. Senior officials in Moscow faced assassination threats. Military bases and ammunition depots across Russia have been hit by Ukrainian drone strikes. Critical infrastructures were subjected to cyber attacks and sabotage attempts. These events show that Russia is facing a growing security threat not only on the Ukrainian front but also on its own territory. While the Kremlin has taken various steps to increase internal security measures, there are strong indications that Ukraine will continue similar operations. Kyiv has proven that warfare can be waged not only on the battlefields of direct confrontation, but also through intelligence warfare and asymmetric warfare. Advanced intelligence support from the West and modern warfare technologies make such Ukrainian operations even more effective. The attack that led to Nagaiko's death is seen as just the latest episode in Ukraine's sensitive operations on Russian territory. Previously, Kyiv has targeted Russian military officers accused of war crimes, oligarchs close to the Kremlin, and key elements of Moscow's war apparatus. The aim of these attacks is not only to harm those directly responsible, but also to send a strategic message to the Kremlin. Moscow is now threatened not only by occupation activities in Ukraine, but also on its own territory. But how will these Ukrainian pinpoint operations change the course of the war? What measures will Moscow take to counter the increased attacks on its territory? Which strategic points will Ukraine target next? How do you think Russia can respond to these attacks? Let us know in the comments. We read and care about your points of view.